Hello, and welcome to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. I'm Kelly Bednar, and I'll be your host for this edition of the Bowling University Profit Break. Thanks for joining us. Our mission here at Bowling University is to enrich people's lives personally and professionally. And the Profit Break is an opportunity for sharing insights on how to grow revenue, reduce costs, and enrich yourself, your team, and your business. If you're joining the Profit Break for the first time, welcome. We're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and we'll be on your way to improving your profitability. Ever feel like you're working in your business more than on your business? I know it did for me many times. One of the ways to get past this is have a big picture plan in place. And today's show is just one of several episodes where we share some strategies, opportunities, and systems for developing and executing an annual plan. Today we take a high-level look at how and why to get started. So let's jump right in. This is taken from our online course, Strategies for Developing an Annual Marketing Plan, and this is just pieces of it, but we wanted to take and give you a good high-level look at getting started in the process. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And what we mean by that is if you're prepared, things can happen. You can make an opportunity happen that wasn't there before. Because hope is just not a strategy all by itself. But you can create your own luck by being prepared for the next thing coming up, the next event that might be happening. And if you know and you're getting ahead of it, you're not reacting to it, you're being proactive along the way. So here's our list of what we call the 6 reasons why you need a marketing plan. Because it forces you to think ahead, to be in the next mindset of what's coming up and what products your customers are going to be wanting and what you need in your arsenal. A plan creates a set of measurable goals, and just as much as anything else, those measurable goals kind of help pull you along to that next level. A plan motivates you and puts everyone on the same page. The team, the guests, your management, leadership, all of it gets onto the same page. You'll spend your time and your money more wisely. We have both dollars to spend on budget, whether it be marketing or whatever, but we also have human equity, right? How many bodies do we have to get some things done? Not just your own, but everybody on your team. So you'll spend that time more wisely. You'll be more proactive rather than reactive, as I mentioned in the opening. We want to make sure that we're getting ahead of ourselves and we're giving ourselves the opportunity to create that luck that we talked about. And finally, you'll give a better guest experience. We want to have the guest in the right frame of mind and our team prepared to do that. So that's a holistic overview, but let's look at strategically versus a long-term type process. What does long-term planning exactly mean? Well, long-term planning is like planning out the entire year or 1 year in advance. It creates a roadmap of actions and steps to follow. And it develops you, again, back to the opportunity of being in a focused mindset. So you're creating those opportunities by creating that luck that we open the slides with. So we want to get you thinking about beyond the strategic side of it, that whether you have the ability to create the strategy for your center, or whether you're a leadership and you're in the trenches and you're doing the work. That long-term plan still applies versus the strategic planning that might have come down from leadership. So long-term planning, think of it this way. It determines the specific direction you want to go, right? The strategic set the plan, and now how are we going to get there? What's the route we're going to take to get us there? And if we get ahead of it in that long-term planning, then you get to choose what to do. What you choose to do along the way determines how successful you will be. Whether you do it ahead of the game or whether you're behind the current 8 ball, that happens to you. You get there by default or by choice. We want to get you there in the right place. But long-term planning is really comprised of just 3 little things. And that is goals, your performance measures, and the resources. It's as simple as that. Where do we want to do? How many league bowlers do we want? How much more open play do we want from them before? All of those goals dictate what's going to be happening as we go along the way. And we have to have some performance measures for accountability, right? So we know that we said we want to have our league bowlers up 10%. And if we're not up 10%, Well, maybe we have to look and readdress how we got there. How do we miss? What's going on? And thinking about it along the way. So think of annual planning as kind of like your GPS, right? We all have them on our phones now. If we plan out the whole year in advance, we then can drill it down by quarters. Because think of it like the GPS is that this is the quarters are your roads themselves, and then when you drill it down to the month, these are the actual turn by turns, the tactics that's going to be happening to actually get us to where we want to go. That whole plan creates at this level the roadmap to guide you along the path to reaching those goals that we talked about, right? So this is the plan to get to those goals, and we have to have accountability along the way to get us there. So we talk about the accountability. Now we talk about, I think I already talked about that. You reference it at every turn. Let's put it that way. So next is planning for the whole year is the start of your full annual marketing plan. So when you think about it, we talk about annually planning, but really what are we talking about? Well, it's that next level up, the marketing of everything we're doing. So once we plan it all out, this whole planning out the year says, okay, how are we going to market this? Where are we going to put everything in place? That's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother course. But we got to be thinking about this planning. We can't market if we don't know what we're going to be doing. So we want to look at the whole idea of the annual planning as being our way of getting us to that next level of our operations of planning for the marketing as you go along. So once we get past annual planning, well, we want to drill it down to the roads, as I mentioned, as the quarterly planning. It's a nice checkpoint, right? It's the benchmark for your overall goals because it's quarterly, like it's 3 months. We can now say, okay, we're 3 months in. Where are we? Have we reached those open play goals? Have we reached our company party goals, our group events goals? Have we met the goals that we're looking at that we defined in that annual planning? We can look at it at a quarterly aspect and see where we go. And it can establish our monthly tactics and activities. We'll show you in other profit breaks how you really can drill down to that level. But when you look at this, quarterly planning is really nothing more than prioritizing and then making adjustments. So each quarter we say, okay, let's look at this group of months that are coming up and how do we prioritize what's going on? And if we are missing a goal somewhere, maybe we can make a planning adjustment or a strategic adjustment along the way. So quarterly planning is, sometimes that mundane. If you're back to your GPS analogy, we're just driving down the highway, we got 300 miles to go on this highway. Well, sometimes you can take that check mark and say, okay, where are we? Is this the right road? Should we have taken a different direction? You can do that on your quarterly planning. And you do it 4 times a year. It is here's a sample for you. Whether you're on a fiscal year or whether you're on a calendar year, here's an example. So in March, let's take this as an example. You will actually be planning July through September, right? So think about that. We're way ahead. That's not the quarter we're in, it's the quarter that's coming, right? So the 3rd month, we're going to look at the 7th, 8th, and 9th months. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to stop for a moment, look at that, and see on a high level on our annual plan, where is that? Where are we? Are we in the right spot? Do we need to look at what's going to happen? Do we have enough marketing set up ahead? You're just going to high level kind of do some strategic, maybe high level tactical planning. In June, you're going to do October through November or December. So think about it this way. Yes, New Year's Eve is in December. New Year's Eve is not in January. So in June, the middle of the hottest month of the year, we're talking about New Year's Eve. So think about that for a moment. If you really want to get ahead on this annual planning concept, in June, sometime we're going to sit down and say, what are we doing for New Year's Eve? I know for me, when I was in the centers, that was not something that I felt comfortable doing. It's like, in June, I would have never. I mean, we really, honestly, I have to be honest, it's probably October, November, we even ventured to think about it. But if you can get ahead of it and do it in June, I'm not saying you do anything about it, get something planned, and we can move to the next steps. In September, we're planning January through March. And here's the one that always got me. I look at this and say, in December, we're planning for our summer leagues. Think about that. April through June is summer leagues. So in the heat of the battle, when we got all this other stuff going on, it's our busiest time of the year, oftentimes December, January timeframe, we should at least sit down, take some scheduled time out of the calendar and say, we're going to look at summer leagues. Are we going to hit our goals? Is everything like where we want it to be? So when you think about that whole concept of annual planning, now quarterly is very important from a strategic standpoint of getting things operated and getting things done. So then you break it down to monthly, and this is where a couple things can happen. When we really get into monthly, why it's important, when you look at the long-range goals that have been set, they can seem overwhelming when you look at it in 1 month, when you got this whole big, huge annual number that you're trying to hit, and you're in this month, and it's not there. So you got to be careful that long-range plan can seem overwhelming. But at the same time, you get the mindset there. You sometimes think that there's time to get it done. So you got to be careful in that whole monthly that sometimes like, oh, look, that number's huge. Or on the other side of it is, we got plenty of time. You really can't get that. We have to be looking at it from the quarter level, then to the monthly. So monthly is really more about the tactical side of it. But 3 reasons why you want to have a monthly plan. If you start planning today for activities to promote next month's sales, you are way too late, right? We got to get way ahead of that. And we're going to talk about that in other profit breaks about how you can break those down and bite those one bite at a time. And most businesses and families set up their holiday events way in advance. So when I start saying about New Year's Eve and you're thinking about that in June, you really need to start thinking about reaching out to companies and families about what do you want to do if you're trying to book some events in December, right? And then flip-flop that over. If you have a lot of things you want to do in summertime, June or July, maybe you start planning for some of that stuff in December. That's our mindset here. And then finally, the 3 reasons to have a monthly plan is you start peeling off those layers of stress on yourself, right? Each one for yourself and your center. You'll never have to guess whether you're going to get those bookings that we're talking about because you're already working on them months in advance, and it comes to you a lot faster and easier, I should say. You just peel some stress off. And when you're working unstressed, you think clearly, you think easier, and quite honestly, the day goes easier. You're not as tired at the end of the day. So if we can peel layers of stress off, it's certainly a win. So I just wanted to show you a couple sample of annual goals. And so think about it. Grow club and league business by 10%. That might be a nice annual goal. By the end of next year, we want to have more league and club business, 10% more by the end of the year. And these are SMART goals. Again, another course that you can take. You got the SMART goals course here in the online program that you might want to look at. But you can schedule 20 or more birthday parties in a particular month. Or booking 20% more group events might be another one. Or conduct 3 2.0 or 4 youth learn the sport classes. These are all things that would be nice goals for you to have in your annual goal, because then they trickle down from those goals. So you think about these goals. You talk about, okay, we have a year to grow our league club business. So we have in particular month, let's say it's June, we want to have 20 more birthday parties over last June. All of those things fall back into that planning that we're talking about. But getting ahead of them and having that goal establishes what you're going to do from there. So if you want to take this to the next level and learn more about planning, planning and developing an annual plan, we encourage you to take advantage of the online course, Strategies for Developing an Annual Marketing Plan, on the on-demand program. If you're not sure and need help getting started, reach out to us here at Bowling University. As we wrap up another edition of the Bowling University Profit Break, remember that when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. We look forward to seeing you next time on another great episode. If you have any questions about today's show or would like additional information, you can reach us at any time at education@bpaa.com. Also, all previous Profit Break episodes are now available 24/7 for you and your team to watch at bowlinguniversity.net. Plus, new Profit Break episodes are available every month, so mark your calendar, watch your email, and join us on Facebook to hear about the latest episodes. Until then, I'm Kelly Bednar. Do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. See you next time.